Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Black and White Gaming's Game Club. I am your host, Peter Hoy, and I am joined by my best friends, Johnny Bag of Donuts.
How's everyone doing today?
Hey, and Devon, aka the real Kratos, and so many other names.
Hey, you're my best friend.
Now we are here, episode 2 of Deadly Premonition. That's right, we are playing Deadly Premonition for a season 2 of the Game Club. What is the Game Club? It's a video game book club where we play a section of a game, discuss it for that week, and then we move on to the next section for the following week. Last week we played to the end of chapter 3. We met our protagonist, Francis York Morgan. You can call him York. Everyone calls him that.
The man.
We had to make our way to Greenvale, the town where a murder happened. We had to meet the hotel owner, Polly Oxford. We had to go over to the sheriff's department and deal with squirrel keys. And then we had to check out the victim's body at the hospital. And in between there was some sections where we had to fight off some mysterious shadows. But now for this section, we had to play to the end of episode 1. That's right, end of episode 1, so that was 4 more chapters, chapters 4 through 7. Guys, what did you think of this section, apart from this port being a giant POS? What did you think of the game itself?
I think the game's fine, like you said. Other than the issues that I've encountered, the game is fine. I shit my pants twice playing through this game, through this section so far.
So the scares are here. The scares are here, is what you're telling me.
I'm a very jumpy person, so like when I'm into the game, it happens. I already don't like it when there things like pop up out of the the shadows pop up out of the ground, and they're just like I literally my goosebumps when they start popping up, and I panic when I'm shooting. It's not good. It's not fun.
John?
I have a deadly premonition that I will not be enjoying the rest of this game.
Now, is that because of the frustration?
No,
I feel like it's definitely because I'm going to put it a lot towards that. It's because this game is just not running smoothly.
So I've tried very hard to separate my frustrations with the port with the game itself. And we talked about it, before, where I kind of liken the port to like you take a vacation, right? And you could have the best vacation ever, but if you have a shitty plane ride and like traveling was a nightmare, that's still part of that vacation, and it still like definitely gets to you when you like think back about it, like, oh, Hawaii was great. Fuck that plane ride, But yeah, I'm not gonna say it doesn't have anything to do with it, but I don't know, man. There's gameplay mechanics that I don't care about. There's a story that I don't really care about, and I'm just not down with the game itself. I think right now.
I don't see that, because here's the thing. I'm gonna take your vacation analogy. I'm gonna explain to you exactly what's happening. You made it to the Bahamas. Let's say you made it to the Bahamas. You had a shitty plane ride in. So you're like, well, whatever. I had a shitty flight, but we're here and we're going to try to enjoy this vacation for what it is. And then you miss the car that's going to take you to the hotel. You get to the hotel and they gave you a smoking room instead of a non-smoking room. You go into the room. Your bed is broken for some reason. You try to grab a drink and the all-inclusive resort is having issues and everything like that. And you're still in a good area, but everything is going wrong, and that's what I think it is. And I think because it's going wrong so bad, you can't even focus on the story because you're just so frustrated on what you had to go through.
It's not the mind that you have to dive into, Peter. It's hard.
Let's jump in. Chapter 4. If you remember what happened at the end of chapter 3, it was Emily told you that they had the witnesses to the body lined up so you could go meet them. And we find out that they're waiting at a place called Forest Park, and that's where you have to go. You have to go there by 1800 to interview them. When you get in the car to head to Forest Park, Sheriff Woodman is not happy. he wants to ask you something. He wants to give you a little friendly warning. And York shuts him up right away. He tells him that
I have the authority approved by the FBI to assume command. I understand you don't like it, but you will follow my orders.
I'm not disputing FBI authority, but this is our town. You won't get far alone.
York comes back and just says to him straight up,
I just do things my way. I can take you off the case if you wish.
Stop it, you two.
Even Emily at this point wants the two to stop. But York knows that he got the last laugh. He gives a corny little smile after that. So then you're free to explore. You're free to do whatever you want. You can head straight over to Forest Park, or you can explore.
Okay,
But-
that was gonna be my question. Like, do you have to abide by the timelines in the game?
So you have to follow them. You have to follow the timeline when they say, we need to be at this place between this time, or we need to be there
Right.
by this time.
Right.
That's what you have to follow. But you'll notice that they give you a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
was-
not
I was
like,
wondering why they do that, and I just go straight to the fucking point. I don't even fucking go anywhere. I don't venture. The only one time I ventured was to get some gas. That was it.
Dude,
That
I
was it.
couldn't
Let's-
find gas for the life of me. For
let's
the life of me, I could not.
talk about getting gas, because I had to grab gas as well.
Hold
I'm going to
on.
let you know. I'm going to let you know how this
is my
happened for
favorite
me.
part
All right?
here. Let me know, Peter, because I
Okay.
cannot wait to talk.
Okay.
It's gonna be great.
I saw a trading card. I wanted to grab some trading cards. I wanted to explore a bit.
Mhm.
I got out of the car, and Sheriff Woodman and Emily were upset with me. They said, well, if you want to mess around, we're going to head straight there. So I was alone, and that was perfectly fine with me. Did you get out of the car?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I drove.
You drove. You drove.
I kept driving.
So tell me what happened. You drove. You found the
Peter.
gas station, right?
Peter, no. So what happened was I started driving and I was
Okay.
all over the place. I just crashed the car a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So the car had like 60 durability left. I was driving by and I went past the gas station. I was like, hold up. I've only got 20% gas in my car. So I drive over, get the gas. First of all, the dude's nest. Just straight up. I think they call him Raging Bull.
Yep.
Jack,
I'm pretty sure
the
it's Jack.
Raging
Raging
Bull.
Bull.
Yeah.
Good. You know what? Let me tell you something about Jack. Jack
Good.
is a loser. Jack is a nobody. But anyways,
His
what
wife wants
I
to
found-
fuck.
what I found hilarious about this, and I was playing the game. It was like get gas or get your car washed. I was like, you know what? I'll get the gas. Paid for the gas, and then I was like, you know what? I'll get the car wash. Maybe it'll do something with the durability. Let me tell you about this car wash, okay? John, have you gotten a car wash yet?
No.
Peter, have you gotten a car wash yet?
I have by the
Okay.
Raging Bull.
Okay, so John, let me tell you what Raging Bull does. Raging Bull walks up to your windshield, hawks a
Spits on it.
loogie on
Yeah.
it, and just wipes it,
Nice.
and your durability goes doo, 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 doo. And I said, holy magic spit. I nearly pissed myself. Dude. I was like, there is no way. And then after that, I just drove to where I needed to go.
Nice.
No exploring. I should do more exploring, but no, I didn't know. I thought you had to get right to the thing. Maybe that's why the chapters go so quick for me. I'm just trying, you know,
You're just going right to the objective. You're just
straight
cruising there
narrow,
and you say,
dude.
just get me to the next part.
Yeah.
Well, I had a little bit of a different experience since I was alone, I imagine. I don't know if I was I don't know if it was because I was alone or if it was because of the time that I went. But when I went to get gas, it was a little different. A very scantily clad woman struts out of the gas station. She walks up to the car and looks at York. Says,
Oh, I've never seen you here before. You in town to see some sights?
I'm thinking, whoa, hey there, lass. Oh my god. Gina the Rose, Jack's wife, is the one who pumped my gas.
Oh, did she?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And let me dive a little further into how
Yeah.
this whole situation went down. She asks a little bit about who you are. York talks to her and then asks her, hey, do you know anything about Anna's death? anything suspicious. And she says,
I hate that complex stuff. Let's have a more simple conversation.
Simple.
Yeah. Do you want gas or not?
My girl, hot and stupid. Let's go.
Jesus.
Then she starts to tell me, people really like my service. They like it when I put it in, and they like it when I pull it out. Do you like the way I pump it?
Peter got Gina's sponge. I wonder. Wish I was Gina's sponge. Anyways.
Probably got Jack Spit.
Yeah, probably has Jack Spit. A lot of Jack Spit. A whole lot of loogie.
Yeah.
All over that pump.
Okay. All right. All right, let's thrust out of that conversation real quick. Jesus Christ.
You make it to Forest Park.
Which is a long drive, by the way.
It is a long drive. Right?
Mind you, I drove with them. They were in my car.
Yep.
And when you go to like talk, you guys have your conversation, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then you drive and it's quiet. And I'm like, man, it's kind of boring driving here and it's quiet. So you click talk again. And literally George is like, listen, York, you really like to talk, huh? Maybe we should just focus on where we're going. And Emily chimes in and she's like, yeah, what George said. And I'm like, fucking both of you, shut up. Trying to like fill the void of just quietness. Because I'm like sitting here playing, just driving. Awful.
We finally make it to Greenvale Forest Park. And we get to meet a new character right here. His name is Jim Green.
Jim Green.
Jim Green runs the forest. You also meet Jim Green's twin grandchildren,
Oh, dude.
Isaac and Isaiah,
You gotta
who
watch
found the
these
body.
motherfuckers.
Jim says,
I'm sorry. Could we talk away from the boys? I want to help your investigation, but I don't want them to hear this.
York says, no.
Don't do anything without asking me. These children were the first to witness the crime scene. I want to talk to them.
York says, fuck you. I'm speaking to these children. These children are talking to me.
Both George and Emily are in shock, as well as Jim Green. They're thinking, how can you be so inconsiderate? And York says,
Children see things in pure, simple terms. They may have seen something we adults would never spot.
and I was like, yeah, York, you tell him.
He's not
Tell
wrong,
him,
though.
all right?
He's right about that.
They
Kids
found the
do.
body. I need to know what they found. And I agree with that.
I need to know what they see. Facts.
Mm-hmm. So you get to talk to Isaac and Isaiah. And it's kind of a little funny scene, only in the way that they talk to you, because they cup their mouths like they're yelling at you, like you're super far away.
Anna, she was so pretty. She had a red dress on.
They tell you that she looked like a goddess. She
Yep.
was the goddess of the forest.
She smiled when she saw us. And
York
then York
agrees with them. York agrees with them. He says,
Psycho, bro.
yeah, she was a fairy, the goddess of the forest. She's probably playing with the animals right now. And he says, thank you, kids. That was very helpful. After that interaction, you finally get to search the area because you're going to look for clues. Because you know that the unsub, or unknown subject, had to have been there too.
I watched a shit ton of Criminal Minds, and they always said unsub. You know how many times they said unknown subject? I didn't know what an unsub was. I kept watching the show. I'm like, yo, that's their unsub, 100%. I'm just throwing the word out. Until I played. Dude, I was playing the game, and he said unsub or unknown subject. I said, unknown subject?
Wow,
I said,
Devon's
holy
eyes were
shit.
opened at this part.
Dude,
Devon
opened my
finally
third
understood
eye, dude.
all of Criminal Minds.
I was like, what the fuck, dude?
So I gotta go rewatch that whole series.
It's great.
Just real quick, did you guys have a glitch in the game where like the cigarette always stayed in his mouth, even though he would like take it out?
No, I did not.
He would put a cigarette in his mouth, light it, and then take it out, and the cigarette would still be there. It'd still be in his hand too, so he'd have like two cigarettes. Happened like the entire time.
That's amazing.
I've been smoking 2 cigarettes at the
such
same
a cool
time
glitch.
since I can remember.
But that's the thing. This
such a
game
cool
is so
glitch.
fucking out there. I'm like, is that intentional? Or is that not supposed to be intentional? I don't fucking know.
York starts profiling, and I think you guys are now starting to understand a little bit more about how the profiling works. This one was a little easier to understand, even though it's still mysterious. But definitely a lot creepier, I would say, right?
I was just gonna say it's so creepy. It's like so weird. What we've learned so far about like the murder and how everything happened, like listening to this without seeing it was like uncomfortable, and like it just made me feel weird.
Well, you have to search through this area and find all the clues. When you find the clues, it adds to the profiling bit. You go through looking for clues, and the clues that you can find are 2 bent pieces of grass, a picture of a vest with holes, a chip with rusted metal dust, and a missing piece of a pinheel shoe. York has, after you find all those clues, a picture of someone's back, a back with this weird tattoo. It's an upside down peace sign. George tries to make sense of the situation and of the area by saying that the holes in the ground were made by high stiletto heels, and that the depression in front of the tree is from the killer kneeling down. He tells George that the footprints actually reveal that the heels were missing from the shoes, and they're different from Anna's shoes that they had at the office. After York puts this together, he finally gets to do the profiling bit with all the clues that he has. And you get to see the entire thing. No images are blurred out. The unsub, our unknown subject,
If you didn't know,
offered prayers to Anna's body. Praise to Anna's body.
Now I get it. He was kneeling to pray in front of her. Just like the twins said. She was a goddess. The unsub, our unknown subject, offered prayers to Anna's body. Its bitten out tongue, massive body wound. Once dead Anna was transformed from an object of despite into one of worship.
And you see that a woman had to have been at the location. She broke her heel while she was walking away.
So who is Miss Stiletto Heels? The steps are close coming up to the body, and then farther apart going away.
There was a reason to hurry away then.
That settles it then, George. Miss Stiletto Heels is a third party here. She's not the murderer. No one runs away from an object of worship.
But she also took something from there. She took something, and it happens to be, or so York assumes, the round object that Anna was holding in her hand, because they said that Anna was holding a round object earlier.
from the impressions in her hand.
After figuring this out, York wants to know how many women in the town wear stiletto heels. Let me take you out on a Friday night.
You're the FBI?
Female body inspector, what's that?
Emily comes up, says, a lot of people, even I have a pair of stiletto heels.
Suspect.
But no one with stiletto heels would come out to this area wearing them.
Except maybe one person.
Don't keep me in the dark then. Who might this elegant lady be?
Diane, the owner of the art gallery.
She's dirty.
Conveniently, she's out of town at the moment.
Suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be
Don't
suspicious.
Be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I fucking love it. Love it.
The next piece that York, George, and Emily look at is the chip. It's the rusted chip. He says that it should be a building with tons of machinery, something like that, but it has to be out of commission. It's an old building. And they tell York that it has to be the lumber mill, which means we find out our next location.
Yay.
We also finish this chapter at that moment.
Yep.
Yay! Another chapter done.
Wrap it in the books.
So now we are on chapter 5. We have to head to the lumber mill. And the lumber mill is a famous part in this game, guys. Famous part because this is the part where shit goes down for real. You get a better look at how the horror sections in this game play out. In the
Big facts.
Now, John, I want to let you know that at the start of Chapter 5 is where I experienced my glitch. And that was York's tie was flopping in the wind, but flopping in the wind through his chest. And it never moved from that moment for quite some time. Like, it just stayed in his body. And every time they would zoom out to a wide shot, you could just see his tie sticking out his back. All I could do was laugh. All I could do was laugh. You drive to the lumber mill. When you finally arrive, York tells George and Emily,
I'm going in alone. You two stay here. I can't concentrate on profiling with other people around me.
York and Emily aren't happy about that.
Well, he also tells them that they're suspects.
Yes.
They should be.
Yes.
Rightfully so.
To me, the outsider FBI agent, every citizen of this town is a suspect. You two could be in on this whole thing for all I know. I have to keep suspects out of the crime scene.
Emily gives her pouty stance.
Is he making fun of us? Like she's 4. She's 4-year-old Sarah at the playground. Are you making fun of me? Stop it right now.
But York, again, doesn't care. Heads on inside. When you enter the lumber mill, we know that shit is about to go down because York tells Zach.
Zach, they're here.
Guys, how did you feel about this beginning section of this dungeon area? Because the way that this section is set up, it changes the gameplay. Everything that we've done so far, the prologue in the hospital, it's been pretty open areas.
Yep.
This portion of the game tightens the corridors and leaves a lot of empty spaces on the sides behind you so that if you don't check your corners, you're probably going to miss something. So guys, what did you think of this beginning section?
Always check your corners, people. Because I tell you what, this is where the first racing stripe came in clutch, dude. Literally, I was like walking through and wasn't really paying attention, and literally from one of the sides, I literally was like, whoa, nope, running back. And if you don't, dude, I'm telling you what, if you don't put them down quick, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, dude. It does change the game a lot. This whole, like you said, Titan. I mean, you kind of saw it in the hospital.
Yeah, as I say, it
The
didn't
hospital wasn't like
feel that different from the hospital with the tunnels all that much. Like, I didn't think it was like game changing where I was like, oh man, it's so much different.
I think just like the vibe of it, right? It's like raining outside. It's kind of dark in here.
It's definitely a creepier setting.
Yes, facts. And I don't do creepy.
I think it's a creepier setting, and I think they threw more coming at you at the same time.
Yep.
And I felt like they took a little bit more damage to put down. I don't know what you guys felt, but
I think so too. I don't think
not like
too
a
far
ton,
off.
but I feel like it was just like
A couple more bullets, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know I shot a lot more center mass this time, so that's why they took a little longer to go down. Where before, there weren't as many mysterious shadows, so I could just align headshots and take them out pretty easily. This time, you would see 3 coming at you, and I would think to myself, "Oh my god, just shoot away, just take them out. They all gotta die."
That's what I did. I just can't do the whole walking backwards or them like phasing in and out, dude. Like like I said, dude, I get goosebumps, man, when I see him. And I'm in my basement playing by myself with headphones on. And I'm freaking out, dude.
I do want to let you guys know a little something. The controls in this game are different from the Xbox 360 version. The original game had tank controls.
I don't even know how.
I don't know what tank controls are.
Tank controls are you can only move forward.
Nope.
So the way that works is think Resident Evil 4.
It was like the other game we played, Outbreak.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Fuck that.
However,
up is forward no matter what.
Up is forward no matter which way you're going. However, Resident Evil 4 changed that because the camera was behind you instead of static cameras up in different areas. With the camera behind you, the tank controls make a little more sense because forward is going to be forward no matter what because the camera's behind you. But that also means you can't just run backwards.
Right.
If you press
turn,
you have to turn around and then run forward to run backwards and then turn around again to look where you were looking.
No.
So this game totally fixed those controls. Very happy about it.
Thank God.
Yeah.
There's just no way, dude. I don't do creepy games, man. And like at first this game was like lighthearted and not creepy, and now it's just yeah, dude. No.
Before you go into the next area,
No.
you see the killer with the axe run into the next room. Where do you got to go?
Into the next room.
Into the next room. That's correct. You head in there and you find the scene of the crime. That's right. You find the area where Anna was definitely murdered. However, York can't think properly. There's too much blocking his insight.
He needs that nicotine.
He needs the nicotine and he needs clues. To progress from the scene of the crime into the next area, you have to get a key. Off the beaten path is a door to another room, and when you walk into that room, there is a phone ringing.
Oh.
When you pick up the phone, guys, what happens?
Where are you now? Bro. Oh, man. That'll stick with me for a while, dude.
The killer is on the other side of the line.
I just feel like this is going to turn into some Scooby-Doo shit where it's going to be like, it was the hotel woman all along.
Jinkies.
After York hangs up the phone, the upside down peace symbol pops up on the window, and we have our first clue. Yay!
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 I feel like it's like a symbol, obviously. I think it's maybe like a tree, possibly. Because like the girl was on the tree, and I was like, it's a red tree, it's a red symbol. So it looks like it's a tree.
Right, the roots and everything.
Yeah, I was like, I'm thinking maybe it's something along the lines of that.
Look at John.
Go. Good insight. Good insight, John.
The root.
And then when you search around the room a little bit, you find the key. So now you have to explore the area.
Oh, God, dude.
Which means you go through quite a bit. Looking around, opening doors, unlocking areas, fighting mysterious shadows to find these clues. Guys, what did you think of this area after the scene of the crime?
Let me tell you what. When you find that first clue, right, and you come out of there, in the back of my head, I was like, you know what? I feel like they're gonna throw some shadows at me. I didn't know it was gonna be right away, dude. Like immediately as soon as I walked out there, because I freaked out. It wasn't like too much of a freak out, but it was more like, oh my God, I'm surprised. Holy shit. And I just started gunning things down.
I mean, the lumberyard's cool setting, I think.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like expected, like you said, to have more things come up. I was just really hoping it wasn't going to be like the endless pit of just like zombie people coming up and like you had to like leave from that area, but it's fine. It's fine.
So, John, I know that you said you weren't really a fan of these sections. Did this one make it a little more intense / enjoyable in a way that before you said it was very easy? You thought that they kind of came randomly, but this section kind of changes up the pace, kind of does it a little differently compared to the hospital and the prologue. How did you feel about it in that way?
I mean, I guess they were more out of the blue rather than just like, all right, I knew that around this corner there was going to be people waiting for me, but I don't think it changed up like all that much. Again, I'm a person anyway that like if there's like a corridor to the left and a corridor to the right, and I go left and it looks like that's the way to go, I need to go right to see if there's like a hidden something there because I don't want to be missing out on any secret stash. So like I was checking corners and everything like that. So nothing really surprised me, I would say. The only thing I think in this section that surprised me a little bit is there's one where you start flushing the toilets, and when you flush a toilet, they start coming out. It's like every time you flush, they come out. That was I think the only thing that really caught me off guard.
Devon?
It's just, I just think the game for me is just like, you know how I am with horror games, man. I just don't do well with horror games. So like, I think what's getting me through the game is like, I just want to beat a horror game, right? I've never beaten a horror game before.
In this section, you finally make it to an elevator. When you ride the elevator up, it gets stuck. You can see sparks coming out of this one area. So what do you have to do? You have to walk over to that area, and you have to interact with it. Do you guys remember what he pulls out?
Yeah, I thought it was some of the red vine shit that was been like all over the place. And then he was like,
exactly.
Red hair. I was like, oh, okay, it's red hair. I was like, all right.
Did you get freaked out when he said red hair or no?
No.
I did. I literally was just like, that's kind of gross. And it made me think of Evil Within. Like the creepy lady that walks around with her, like, she's like, yeah. I was like, that's kind of creepy.
After you grab the red hair, mysterious shadows pop up in the elevator. Guys, I'm just curious on how the section worked out.
It worked out fine. I think Metal Gear did it better.
I'll say anticlimactic. I was like, oh, fuck, it's about to go down. And I pulled out my fucking submachine gun. And then I was like, okay. I guess that's it.
Metal Gear did it way better, dude. I'm telling you.
They both were lackluster for me. Both Metal Gear and this in elevator sequences. However, I did not mention that before, and thank you, John, for saying that. You get a new weapon in this area.
You do.
A submachine gun. Guys, did you use the submachine gun, and what did you think of it?
I used it in the elevator, and it's really awesome. I really like it. It's actually not as powerful as I thought, because you still have to like pump some bullets in them, but the cool part is you actually don't have to reload it.
Yeah.
So you just have like all the bullets. You just like that was cool.
I use it in the corridor. And let me tell you what. Like John said, it's not as powerful, but man, having the power of just fucking instead of gah. Oh, it's great. It's great.
There was a section I didn't mention earlier where you had to grab a gearbox to get the elevator working. When you grab that gearbox, a bunch of mysterious shadows spawn in behind you, and you're trapped in this little area, and you have to fight them off. That's the first time I used the submachine gun. And when that happened, I instantly looked at all the enemies and said, I fucking got this. Pulled out the submachine gun and did exactly what John said. Aimed, night, bitches. And then there was only one left, and I switched to my pistol and headshot. And I said, I'll save the ammo.
Then I pulled out the jammy and hit him with it.
You ride the elevator to the top, and when you finally make it to the top, the elevator loses power.
Typical horror.
But there is a save point there, so that's always good. You can save your game. Thank God. I needed a save point.
Always save your game.
Let me tell you guys something about this great section. I said, who needs a save point right now? I'm good. I'm fine. Went a little bit farther. Guess what happened? Ooh, buddy. Little game crash. And I said, good. The last time I saved was right before we came to the lumber mill. And I said, awesome. Can't wait to do this all over again.
ABS. If you're playing on this computer port, ABS. Always be saving.
Just do yourself a favor and get the Switch version.
Yes.
Just get the Switch version. If you have a Switch, get the Switch version.
What do you mean the Switch version?
Yeah.
Was something announced today?
Something was announced today. There's a Switch version that just got announced. Well, yesterday. It was yesterday it got announced, but I found out today.
Yeah.
It was announced on September 4th, but
Peter, what else did we find out?
Today, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. There's still excitement. Make sure you stick to the end of the podcast because we're going to talk about more exciting news that happened yesterday that we're going to talk about today.
Cliffhanger.
Hey.
Stay around, Zach.
Stay around. Make sure you're right. You make sure you're in the right compatibility mode so you can make it to the end.
You're still here with us, Zach, right? Wait till the end. It's interesting. But yeah, I did not save, and I had to restart everything. So it was not too fun. I was very upset. I actually cursed a little bit, slammed on my desk. Always be saving.
ABS. When you play this PC port, ABS.
I've never been so happy to see a phone in any room that I go into. I'm just like, please do not crash before I get to this fucking phone. Please. Always be saving.
Hashtag ABS.
Hashtag get the Switch version if you have a Switch. Hashtag get the PS3 version if you have a PS3. Hashtag get the 360 version if you have a 360 or an Xbox One.
Hashtag punch yourself in the dick if you think you're going to play this on PC. Just get a different version.
Yes, get a different version.
Hashtag buy a different version.
Once you find out whatever compatibility mode is going to allow you to make it to the next area, you move on to the next area. Corridors are even tighter at this moment. And there's different ways that you can go. It's not just a linear path anymore. It all leads to the same place you need to go, but you can just take different routes there. Guys, what did you think of this setting?
I hated this setting, dude. Like I said, dude, I don't do well with corridors and small spaces and horror games and everything, so this whole thing was just not up my alley. This game's working against me. Plus the handprints on the wall and shit. I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm out. Game's
I was
not good
annoyed
for
just
me.
because, again, when there's multiple paths, I have to make sure I check every path. Just
I'm the
to see
same
if
way,
there's
John.
anything I missed. So it's like, it was just frustrating because I was like, I just want to get through this, but like I have to go over here and see if there's a door that's open. You know,
This is what's great about all of us, right? For those of you who are watching or listening on all podcast services, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you're listening or watching on YouTube. We're all different players, okay? We've got two of the completionists here, Johnny Bag of Donuts and Super Game Geek, and we have the man who finds one path and goes on that path. Does not travel off the beaten path, because guess what? He's playing a horror game.
Depending on the game. This game, I will gladly go off. I'll gladly go off the beaten trail. Metal Gear Solid, guess what? There was a point in that game where I said, no. Straight is the way for me.
See, that's I've already gotten to that point in this game. Not so much in situations like this. It's more of the open world setting where I'm like, I just get me to the next mission.
Yep.
There's another puzzle that we come across, and the puzzle is a tree in this room with a bunch of different hand symbols on it. Not just symbols, I mean hands sticking out of the tree, making different signals with their hands. So you got a fist, you got a claw, you got the live long and prosper. You got the right on.
Bro.
Oh, bro, you just gotta hit it.
Shaw, bro.
Very easy puzzle, because before the puzzle even begins, it shows you the door to exit the area, and it shows you the hand symbol. Well, it shows you a hand symbol, I should say. When the puzzle begins, a timer starts ticking down, and what you have to do is you have to shoot the correct hand symbol. Since they showed you a hand symbol on the door, you knew right away which one you had to shoot.
I do wish that they would do, like, I like the puzzle element of it, and I wish they would kind of lean into that more. I hope they do.
It would have been cooler if they didn't show you the hand, right? So you had to like kind of look around with the timer going and figure out, oh, hey, maybe that's the one I have to do. It still probably would have been quick, but it would have been a little bit cool, like a little more cooler, right? Instead of like, oh, hey, yeah, this one. Okay, pow. Okay, good.
Yeah, I definitely had that, like, I shot the hand and then it was over and I was like, oh, okay. Like, all right. Like, I appreciate the attempt, but it was just very spoon-fed, you know?
I agree with that, guys. I wish that they had a little more confidence in the player to figure out these puzzles. Because like you said, if they didn't show you that little scene before the puzzle, all you had to do was look around the room and the solution was there.
Right.
Which gives the player a little boost in confidence, because when the timer starts, you could look around the room and you can say to yourself, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? And then you see the symbol on the door, and then you look at the symbols on the tree, which finally leads you to think, oh, I have to shoot the right symbol. Boom. that gives a boost of confidence to the player, as opposed to, like you said, spoon feeding them with the solution right off the bat.
God, I'm such a bad player. Why can't you just give me a hint in the puzzle right now? I need it. I need it. Help me.
Then again, Devon and I messed up the easiest puzzle in the game. So
Yeah,
we
facts.
probably shouldn't be talking too much right now.
Why can't they make this fucking chess puzzle easy, bro?
Oh,
I don't understand.
You know, the puzzle where they told you exactly how you had to enter in the pieces.
This is the second puzzle now where I've just been like, first thing I've done, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, all right,
we get it, John. You're smarter than me, Peter.
Puzzle game.
Guys, why do you need the hand?
Well, because there's a door that I first went to and couldn't get through because there's no doorknob. So this essentially turns into the doorknob, which is actually kind of creepy, but
very creepy, actually.
Yes, as John said, after the elevator bit, there's a locked door. Not even a locked door, but it just doesn't have a door handle. So you have to look for a door handle. The hand that you shoot on the tree becomes that door handle. And when you put that handle into the door, you have to give it a little handshake. When you give it a little handshake, guys, what happens?
Grabs your hand.
It won't let go. So you have to fight free. And when you finally do, you get another clue.
I will say I didn't expect it. Like, it was
definitely not.
It's a cool little I didn't expect that.
I jumped.
After that creepy little bit, you get a new clue. The peeled off fake fingernail. So we have 3 clues. Only one more to go, guys. One more.
Gotta get the last one, baby.
So we found the 3rd clue. And now we have another area that we have to search. There's also a mirror. You guys remember this portion?
I do.
When you observe the mirror, something strolls by in the background. You can see it in the reflection. What is it, guys?
Peter?
The dude from I Know You Did Last Time.
It's Mr. Rain Man.
Yeah.
Mr. Rain Man. That's right.
Mr. Rain Man.
Send me a dream. The Raincoat Killer is dragging his or her ex in a way where it's creating sparks on the ground.
Yeah.
It can't be good for the sharpness of the axe. Be like very, very blunt.
Who says the killer wants their axe to be sharp?
Maybe
I
they
want it
wanted
to be sharp so it can be quick and painless.
dull and fucking.
You have to head into the same area as the killer.
Yo.
And you head into another area very similar to the last one where there's different paths, different ways. When you turn a specific corner, someone appears. And it's the killer! Killer bees!
Never had killer bees on Never have I ever clicked a button so fast in my entire life. Literally like mashing that shit.
That is correct. It is a quick time event. The killer runs up and tries to do what happened in the prologue, or he tries to grab you. Guys, how did this portion work out for you?
What was crazy was as soon as I saw him, I immediately started pressing the button. I freaked out and I was like, ah! Immediately as I saw him coming out of the corner. Dude.
Yeah, he definitely grabbed me because I suck at the quick time events in this. So.
Hey man, once you play God of War, you're pretty much used to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
true. God of War, king of quick time events.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the same exact thing. If you miss it, it gives you the next chance. Like he goes to like hit you and you can evade by toggling the little thumbsticks. So I did that.
Rolled out of the way of the axe swing, and then he gives you the finger wag.
No.
Killer runs away once you complete the QuickTime event, and you're free to explore again. You have to keep on going until you reach this room. This room where you can sleep, change your clothes.
Yeah, because who would want to fucking sleep in a haunted fucking lumber yard that's closed down? That makes a lot of sense. Actually, I think I did it.
I definitely slept. I definitely slept for a little bit.
Which made me think like it was the 3 hours is like the smallest amount. I'm like, what is George and Emily thinking? Like you're in there for 3 fucking hours, and it's like, and you come out. Oh, I'm sorry, I was sleeping. I forgot you guys were out here.
I had to take
That's
a quick
definitely where she was killed.
Totally.
She
I found
definitely
that out
died.
like 20 minutes in, dude. I'm so sorry.
She definitely died in that motherfucker, but I had to take a quick cat nap. Oh no, yeah, she died here.
Oh, she
died
did.
here.
Oh, totally.
You can also access your toolbox. You can save. There's a phone in the room with all these different things. There's a switch you need to push. And that switch turns on the power. And that power is going to bring that elevator back to life.
Yes, sir.
The phone rings in this room.
Oh, buddy.
The killer says,
I see you.
I'm gonna have
Intensive care unit?
This is definitely not the ICU.
No, that's where he's gonna put you.
With the dull fucking axe.
Yeah.
You go to the door. You try to open the door.
You save first.
You definitely
All
save
right.
first. Then you open the door. Guess who's waiting on the other side of that peephole?
Hi, buddy.
It's the killer! And he starts
Mr.
chopping art.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, he hears Johnny the door, and you have a small window to hide somewhere. Guys, where did you hide? How did this section work out for you?
So I didn't really know where to hide, to be honest, the first time. So I was kind of freaking out a little bit. And then I hid underneath the desk.
Oh, you can hide underneath the desk?
Yes, sir.
What?
That's where I went. My first instinct said, "Hey, there's a locker there," and I said, "Nah, it will find me there."
When I first looked around the room, I actually hid in the closet thing here, the locker, and then got out. I was like, huh. And then when I got to the door and you started chopping it down to go, oh, this is why we get to hide in the, in the locker. So I went into this middle one.
When he kept moving his head around like he was looking up at the sky, he was just like, I was like, is he trying to smell
what the Rock was cooking?
Right. Like, this dude just barged into my room where I just fell asleep at. Okay, he could have barged in at any moment while I was sleeping, but he did it after I woke up. And then you want to come in and smell my breath?
Mm-hmm.
I got that halitosis, homie.
Twice, at least.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Where are you hiding?
It's freaky, dude. I don't.
Did he find either of you guys?
No.
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 Nice. No. Devon, I will say that in my game, when he was walking around doing his "Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?" trying to find me, he looked underneath the desk.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He looks inside the locker.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Nice. Interesting.
He rips it open. He's whoop.
I totally thought too, like I thought you'd have to wait till he was like at a locker past you, that you would like run out and run towards the door. But I didn't do that. I just stayed in there. And then he left. I was like, all right, cool.
I definitely thought that for a second, John, where I thought, maybe I need to escape right here. And then I thought, nah, I'm going to stay.
He's already past me. I was like, nah. Fuck that.
I did not once think about running out there. I've seen it. No way.
He can't find you. He gets angry, throws his axe, and it hits one of the lockers. You're finally able to leave your hiding spot, guys. Whew, you made it by it. Then you try to leave the room.
So I wipe the sweat.
First you save.
First you save.
Then you leave
the room. Baby.
After you leave the room, you have to head into the next area. When you head into the next area, he's back.
Daddy's back.
Kicks open the door behind you, and it starts the first chase sequence of the game.
Nope.
Oh, great. There's more. Fuck.
Nope.
Hint, hint. You will do this again.
Oh.
What you have to do with this chase sequence is you have to waggle the thumbstick left and right to keep York running. And at different points during the chase sequence, you'll have different button prompts that you'll need to do, such as evade, which you'll need to do when he throws his axe at you. And you'll only throw his axe at you when he's far enough away and it's a clear line of sight to you. He can also catch up to you and grab you and start a quick time event. There's also objects that you'll need to interact with. I will let you guys know right now, I was very frustrated that I had to push a box.
It was so stupid.
That
it was
York
so stupid.
could have definitely just ran around.
Yep.
That was annoying. But let me ask you guys right now, and Devon, you can kick this off with what you want to say. How did this sequence work out for you? And what did you think of this sequence?
I'll go to the beginning. As soon as he kicked the door in, I said, oh, good. This is going to be a wonderful time because I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to have to run from this dude. Now, mind you, I thought it was just going to be a typical just run away, whatever. Where's my controller? My palm has never gone back and forth so fast. Because I sat here. I don't even know where my controller. Oh, here it is. I sat here like this, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Gone, dude. And like at one point when I went too hard and I ripped the little top of my thing off.
Damn.
Off my controller. Dude,
Devon's like, I'm getting the fuck away.
It was not good. But I want to say that this part debunks the fact that it is that old woman, because I'll tell you what, she ain't lifting and throwing no axe like that at all. There's no way.
That's exactly what she wants you to think.
No,
Okay. She can't hear. Huh? What? Talk louder, huh?
But no, this shit was creepy. I was happy to be done with it. I was scared the whole time. Like I said, my palm was sweaty.
Mom's spaghetti.
Knees weak.
Arms were heavy.
Oh my god, it was not good.
So to me, if you want a snapshot of what 2010 gameplay was like, it is that sequence right there of like the quick time events and everything like that.
I love that every time he says 2010 gameplay, like Red Dead Redemption just rolls in and says,
No, I know, but I'm saying,
tell me about 2010.
For the most part, that is what games were like.
Quick time.
Can I tell you something real quick before you continue? This game was originally developed for the PS2, and it kept getting delayed, and then it
makes a lot of sense.
And it eventually made it onto the 360. That's what happened.
That actually makes a ton of sense.
Yep.
With that being said, I think the 2-camera portion was cool. How it shows.
I do like that, right?
Yeah,
definitely. Yes.
I like that. I was annoyed at the stupid box part, just like you were saying. How I was like, this is, you can clearly run around it. You do not have to do this. I'm awful at quick time events, so I died like 3 times in this thing. It was terrible, but yeah, it was fine. It was alright.
Was it at least intense? Did you feel any tension?
Maybe at the very, very first, because I didn't know really what was going on, and like I realized quickly that you're not controlling him as far as like aiming him down the hallway. You're just making him go forward, and he's down a set path. It was more of just me being like, I need to pay attention to what buttons I need to hit, and it was less of like, oh, this guy's coming up right behind me. Like I was focused more on the quick time event portion, which is why I hate quick time events. Because you can't actually just enjoy the cinematic of what's happening or what is actually going on.
Don't play Detroit.
Facts.
I probably will, but that's
a lot of quick time.
I know. That's why I honestly
that's like
a game.
That's like 8 to 9 hours of quick time.
I know, but that's honestly why I originally didn't. Well, I still haven't played it, but why I stayed away from a lot of the Telltale games. But like I said, that's yeah, it was. I didn't mind it. It was alright.
So, I hate being chased in video games. I abhor it. It gets my heart pumping so much. Anything like Outlast, Amnesia, this game, anything where you're getting chased, Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah.
My heart rate just skyrockets, and I freak out. And I just lose all concentration, and I'm just sitting there going, get away, get away, get away, get away, get away. So, to me, this part was super intense. This was the first time where I was legit scared in this game, I felt the exact same way I felt the first time I played this game. These chase sequences just get me. And it's just because you're being pursued.
Right.
And the 2-camera thing, like you said, John, where you can see the killer's point of view, it becomes nerve-wracking when you look down there for a split second and in the killer's point of view, you see yourself.
It was mainly the part where like he's like catching up to you, and it's got the one where like you're running across and like to the exit, and he's coming towards you. I was like, damn. I was like, all right, motherfucker caught up to me. All right. I think,
but
like,
I think it's a good feature. I think it's a good feature. Don't get me wrong. I hate being chased, but it does add to the tension. I did feel tense. Do I like QuickTime events? Not really, but I grew up with them. And I think playing Detroit before playing this definitely helped out getting me ready for reacting to QuickTime events. So it was something I could live with, but overall I enjoyed the scene. Definitely things I could work on.
Because I agree with you, like being chased is terrifying. And the one that always just jumps up to me, like most recent, was Friday the 13th. Like when that game first came out, we started playing it. It was like, oh fuck! Like you just see him like in the dark with like maybe he had like that overhead lamp, and he just passes through. You're like, like fucking shit. But that you have like the direct control of like you're running and you need to evade. Where this, it's like you're just hitting things to like go on a path. It felt less of like I knew he was going to catch up to me, like it was a planned thing versus like if I don't do a certain thing correctly or like run this way, then I'm fucking myself. So,
this way.
it took it definitely upped the tension, but that took away from it a little bit as far as me being like super freaked out by it.
Gotcha. You make it to the end of the chase sequence. York dives through the door. The red ivy shoots up, and you get a moment of reprieve. You can save. You can save because you're back at the elevator now.
Hell yeah.
ABS. ABS.
Always be saving, baby.
Always be saving. Elevator
Save your life.
is back on. With the elevator brought back, you can take it down. You walk into the elevator. You activate it. You write it down. Everything is dandy until you get to the bottom because a little cutscene happens as York tries to leave and the killer drops down, does a superhero Deadpool fucking landing, and then chases after you, and a series of QuickTime events starts. Guys,
yeah, buddy.
How did this work out for you?
You know, baby, God of War. God of War, baby. It's that good shit. Nah, it was fine. It took me by surprise when he came down though. I thought it was just gonna have York walking out all slow, like, but nope.
Did you mess up at all, Devon?
No. I came close. I came very close.
The right bumper is what totally almost threw me off. The right bumper almost ruined the series of success that I had.
Fact.
So I was incorrect. I only died one time the time before. This time I died twice, I believe. And it's not necessarily my reaction time, it's the accuracy of the buttons that I hit. Because or lack thereof, I should say. Because I tried to evade, and I think each time it had been for me, I want to say it was like A or something like that. And then they switched it to X. And I was like, fuck. And I hit A by accident. It killed me. Then the right bumper one got me because I hit the right trigger. And I was like, fuck. I was like, damn it. I was so mad I had to do it again. And then it was fine. It was all right.
Was it you mess up and you die?
Yeah, there's no like even trying to get a second chance. It's just like, yeah, he kills you.
Damn.
Can we just also point out he pulls some fucking Solid Snake shit in this where he fucking rolls out of the way and uses his gun to shoot the fucking button on the elevator.
Doesn't shoot the killer.
No.
Right.
Doesn't shoot the killer. He aims at the elevator panel, shoots the panel, which closes the elevator and sends the killer back up.
Mind you, the killer, who is probably the fastest dude I've ever met in my entire life,
Right,
does not make it to the elevator door before it comes down.
Nope. No, it doesn't.
No. I think he just got caught off guard that York didn't shoot him. He was probably sitting there. He's probably standing there thinking to himself, "The fuck he's shooting this panel for?"
This dude's an idiot.
Once that sequence has finished, you get the final clue, and that's a torn piece of the raincoat.
Yeah.
And you can finally profile this bad boy. And this profiling, that's right.
Yes, darling. Yes, you look so
You're a
darling.
cat.
Yes.
You're a cat.
Faster. Give me some attitude. Yes.
This profiling segment is probably the creepiest one so far, because I feel like, and you guys can let me know if you agree with me or not, they do the sounds of him biting out her tongue.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
put that together.
Mm-hmm. You can hear it.
Because at first it's her looking all sexy
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
on the altar. You can tell that she must have been modeling. She must have known who she was with, because she was very comfortable. She was there. She was happy. She was in seductive clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, old women hotel ladies into some kinky shit, you know.
And then it starts to get weird, and she tries to run away unsuccessfully. You kind of hear the and you hear like the
Yeah. I didn't even put that together with the tongue.
Once York has finished profiling, he walks outside and he hands all the clues that he finds to Emily and George. They do look at the torn piece of a raincoat and say,
But that raincoat is a little odd.
Odd? In a town where it rains so much?
Well, the people here rarely go out in the rain.
and this is where we learn about the Raincoat Killer.
Oh, well, there's an old story, folklore. It's a fairy tale to me. Something about a killer in a raincoat who appears on rainy nights. A vicious killer in a bright red raincoat. Yeah, that was it. Just a foolish piece of superstition. A rubbish story someone made up.
And that's why most of the shops, the schools, pretty much everything in town closes when it rains. Which I can't imagine is good for the town's economy. Nope. Especially
seeing how they live in like the Pacific Northwest, it seems like, where it must rain a lot.
And then he asks the unthinkable. He looks at Emily and George and says,
"Oh, by the way, would you two kindly show me your backs?"
Dun dun dun.
Emily and George are appalled. York says,
"The person with the upside down peace mark in that photo we found. He's our killer."
They ask, what makes you so sure about that? And he comes right out, doesn't hold back. He just says, Zach and I saw him kill Anna in the lumber mill. To which he follows up with, don't ask me about Zach.
All right.
That's a personal thing.
Emily, show me that bag.
What that bag do?
After a little bit of arguing.
After I see yours, I'm gonna go see Gina Rose. What?
After a little bit of arguing, Emily just decides to do it, takes off her shirt, shows York her back, and the sultry music plays, the romantic music.
Are you satisfied now?
Yes. My apologies.
Oh, that one? I was thinking.
Following Emily's example, George decides to do the same. George's back, not so sexy. It has scars all up and down.
I would like to say that part with George is actually really cool, I thought.
Right? Adds to his character.
Yeah. It almost like gives some sort of backstory as to why he's such a dickhead.
Yep.
Right. This dude's seen some shit. Some shit has happened to this dude.
And his response to York was,
Just like your Mr. Zack. Something private. I don't have to tell you about it.
All right, cool, man.
That's right.
You got it. You got it.
York then says, "You guys are off the hook. You are no longer suspects in this case." Yay! George and Emily are cleared.
Bum, ba, bum.
But now it's time to bring the townfolk together because York has some stuff he wants to address with the citizens of Greenvale. And we have finished Chapter 5. Chapter 6 begins with George and Emily telling York, "We're going to get the town together between this set time, 1500 and 1700. So you need to get to the Greenvale Community Center in between those times following day." Other than that, they're all feeling a little tired. They're all feeling exhausted. This is another portion where, guys, you can go explore if you want before you do anything, before you go to sleep, before you head to the community center. Or you can just straight go to sleep, smoke some cigarettes, because if you didn't know, smoking the cigarettes passes time. Shout out to Kemaro. If you're listening, thank you so much. You rock. You reminded me that cigarettes help pass the time because I had totally forgotten that.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that little tidbit. I will take that and run with it.
Yeah. Guess what I did to get to the town hall meeting?
What's that?
Smoke a cigarette. One long cigarette.
Devon,
Hey,
I imagine you went.
Sometimes you need to smoke to make it. What's up?
Devon, what did you do?
I went to bed. I went and took a little nappy naps. Little nap
Even
snack.
after it, dude, like it takes a while for
It does take a while.
game time to pass. Like they're, it's like fuck. I was like,
I really just drove around.
yeah.
I did some exploring. I did a couple races. I feel like I got a good handle on the driving.
First person's the way to go.
Yeah, first person for me, definitely the way to go. I feel like it's so much easier, even though the view is a little tough to deal with. But just control-wise, it feels so much better in first person.
Oh, dude, there's no braking for me. I just throw on the sirens and just drive as fast as possible to the next destination. That's literally it.
Car flips over, he just flips it back and then keeps going.
Dude, I literally landed on the side of my car one time and I had to like wait for it to just be like and tip over. It's terrible.
Whatever you decide to do, the time hits 3 o'clock or after, and you make it to the Greenvale Community Center.
Dun, 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 dun.
Which York is very impressed with, by the way. Inside the community center, York, Emily, and George are sitting on the stage. There's tons of citizens in the auditorium, and York begins to address them all. Now, something I forgot, which Kemaro, yet again, was very, very helpful and reminded me of, is that York's clothes can get dirty.
Yeah.
And if they get super dirty, flies start to fly around York.
Oh.
Thought it was another game glitch. Definitely thought it was another game glitch.
Which at this point of the game is super annoying because once you initiate this, there's no turning back.
Oh boy.
You have to deal with the flies in every cutscene. And every time he talks to someone, every time you see York, every time you're walking, he just has flies circling him.
Those aren't flies, bro. Those are pigeons.
They're huge freaking flies. They're not
Those are
like
bot flies.
Yeah, they're not itty bitty things.
Those are drones, okay?
747.
The worst part is, in this section, they have the nerve to put a toolbox in there, but not a suitcase where you could change your clothes.
And I will just go ahead and say, they obviously timed it out where, like, me and you both had this happen at this exact same point, right? That's intentional that they're like, oh, you the stinky man, you the stinky investigator, the smelly FBI agent walking around talking to all the people. Hey, you meet the town for the first time. To hold your armpits down. Make sure you don't stink up the place.
Oh my God, I love it.
And it's an extended amount of time. Because guess what? You don't have a chance to change clothes for the rest of the episode. I'm just going to come out and say it. You don't have a chance. Why has York brought this town hall together? Is because he wants to tell everyone that he's going to stop the killer. He's going to apprehend the suspect. But he wants to give them some advice, too, on how to stay safe. First thing he tells them is to...
Firstly, please, stay away from any dark, dangerous, isolated places.
Which you should do normally. For those who have children,
guide your children away from such places at all costs.
Solid.
Again, something you should do if you're a parent, just normally.
Listen, he's an FBI agent, all right?
Then York says,
Now I've heard the folklore story of the Raincoat Killer. There is a chance that the murderer is mimicking the story. Women should also be especially careful. I would hate to see more victims.
Puts it all out there on the table for everybody. Then someone walks in. Looking sexy AF.
Ooh.
It's Carol McLean in her high heels. That's right. Her high heels that the game focuses on.
Her high heels.
Her stilettos.
Who's the fashionably late one?
That's Carol, Thomas's sister. She owns a bar.
Thomas's sister.
It's kind of funny that he says fashionably late because he's definitely also mentioning fashion. Clever.
Facts.
You find out Carol is Tom's sister. Otacon of Deadly Premonition. Sister. The nerdy sissy dude has a hot sister.
Let me break you a biscuit.
Then you get the chance to meet the townsfolk. York gets the chance to meet the townsfolk After this presentation. You get to walk around and talk to everyone, whether you're stinking up the place or you're clean as a whistle.
The flies are just so aggressive. Like, it's just aggressively flying around you. It makes me so mad.
It's so angry. So angry that I had to play through it the first time like that.
That's crazy, dude. They're aggressive.
You get to talk to everybody, and there are a lot of characters here. You can talk with Mr. Stewart, who tells you to talk to him at the right time.
But if you, Mr. York, find the right timing to chat with me, that is, with Mr. Stewart, may that be informative and fruitful, you will see. So says Mr. Stewart.
Which means later on in the game, we're probably going to have to talk to him. Before I continue, guys, is there anyone who stands out for you who you want to talk about first?
Hold on.
Yeah, well, first, this is my first interaction with fucking Raging Bull's girl there.
Gina?
Yeah, and she was super pushy. Like I thought it was going down there. I was like, damn.
She has her shorts unzipped.
Yes, let's talk about Gina. Let's talk about Gina's outfit, because we didn't talk about Gina's outfit before. She's wearing
like a Daisy Duke type of.
Yeah.
She basically is like the same type of same type of thing.
Yes.
Like tied up in the front, even shorter on the top.
Her shorts are
minuscule.
Pretty much, I would say, what is that? 5 inches? 5 inches.
Generous. That's
long.
very generous.
Yeah, I'm being very generous right now. They are unzipped, so you can clearly see her underwear.
Yep. Hey, how you doing? Her belt is done. It is clasped, but it's falling off her body.
Her belt is almost like a sash. It's not going through the loops on her shorts.
No.
She's not worried about keeping her shorts up.
She wants to take them off.
Since we talked about Gina for a little bit, let's talk about Jack the Raging Bull. This was the first time I met Jack the Raging Bull.
Ditto.
And very unpleasant person.
He's a very unpleasant.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't talk to the cops. Only thing I talk to is Ben Franklin. Which means the only way you can talk to him is bribing him. I actually found that out because when I went to the gas station later, he came out instead of Gina. And an option in the purchase menu is to give him $100 for information.
Yep. I will tell you that the second time, because this was my second time meeting him, he literally looks at you, laughs, and says the same thing.
Okay.
Asks for the money. That's it. I was like, oh, good. You're the most useless character. Can we talk about the one character that I really want to talk to more?
Who?
The General.
The General.
Yeah.
My man. Not the Surgeon General, but the General himself.
The General is the owner of the scrapyard. I drove by it earlier. He fought in the Vietnam War. And what do you guys think of this character?
I think he's great, dude.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Big Boss. He's the man. He's a badass.
Yeah, I liked him. Interested to see more of him.
Yes.
A real-life war hero. So why are you living here?
Soldier, this is my hometown. After a man returns from war, there's no place to go other than his hometown.
There's actually all the characters minus a few were actually decently diverse and like quirkiness and had their own attitudes towards everything. I thought they did a good job of kind of making them different.
You can talk to Usher Johnson again. He mentions Anna's mother, Sally, and Sally didn't show up to this because Sally has already lost her husband, and the only thing that she had in her life was Anna, and now that Anna's gone, she doesn't really want to go out anymore. York says I should pay her a visit. Usher says, yeah, would you do that? When you talk to Fiona, you find out Fiona has the feels for the Johnson. That's right. She
got the jungle
wants
fever,
it.
baby.
She wants it. And then she drops all his info that he's keeping secret right on the table. And he's right there. He can hear everything.
You know, he already made a fortune in LA with his career.
I did not know that.
You didn't? Oh, the doctor is a very rich man. He has a really big house over by the lake.
Amazing, Zach. You must be loaded. Rich and young. A perfect combination.
But you don't get that feeling from him at all, do you? He doesn't show it. That's one of the things I like best about him.
Well, I could have been fooled if it weren't for you. Thanks for the valuable information, Fiona.
Pretty much that's the only thing she talks about, and that just made me see Fiona in a different light. You want that money. Another character you can meet is Wesley, the gunsmith, owner of the Panda Bear. You can meet Olivia, Nick's wife. Olivia Cormack works at the diner. She worked with Anna. Nick Cormack owns the diner. Olivia is very welcoming, very informative, talks about Anna a little bit. You know, she was a very hard worker, a nice girl. She mentions that
the diner closes when it rains. Many shops do that around here, as you might have heard. Anyway, Anna always seemed unfocused the day after it rained, and came in late, too. It was almost as if she used up all her energy the day before. Come to think of it, that was really strange.
You learn a little bit right there. Nick is just a dick.
So I met Nick before, when I had to kill time in town originally before smoking my cigarettes. I went to the diner because it said suspect on the map. So I went in there and I saw her in the back cooking area. And I was like, oh, I'll just go talk to her. And I ran to the back and he fucking yells at you and he's like, get out of my like, you get out of here. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right. And then you leave. And I was like, well, damn, I guess I can't go in there.
You can meet the crazy old roaming Sigourney.
Hey, mister, my pot is getting cold.
You are... who?
What are you saying? I'm Sigourney. Sigourney.
The pot lady. She doesn't have anything interesting to say except that her pot is getting cold and she can't be there anymore. How her pot didn't get cold on the way to the place doesn't make sense to me.
Why she brought a pot there in the first place?
I imagine you guys talked to Thomas McLean.
Yeah.
What did you think of that scene?
I don't know why they showed the other two's backs and they didn't show his.
Did you want to see Thomas's back?
Yes.
Not really.
Yes.
No, look
I wanted
at
to
how
see
he's holding his hands behind his back.
the heart with the arrow, the G, right?
York asks Thomas to take off his shirt because he wants to make sure that Thomas doesn't have the mark on his back. Thomas acts all shocked.
Dude, everyone's like, I know my back. You want to see?
Everyone in this town's prude except for Gina.
Thomas eventually agrees, shows the back. Continue, John. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, he turns around and then turns back. It does this like little time lapse thing where obviously, like you showed him his back, you don't see it, but it's got a heart, allegedly with a G on it. I think with an arrow through it.
You ought to see that tattoo, Zach. A big heart with an arrow through it and Love G in the center. I don't know when he got that done, but we've all been through the 80s.
Love G is on his back. Could G be Gina? Could it be George?
Yep.
Oh.
He's always up George's ass.
Damn.
Or it's the opposite way around.
That's a private matter. Now we know where the fucking scars came from.
George is a passionate man. Remember that. You can talk to Richard Dunn, the owner of the darts bar. Sweary 65.
He's supposed to be 65. Oh, swear. Okay, gotcha.
Sweary 65.
I was like, what?
John.
I thought he says, I swear he's 65.
65,
I was like,
yeah.
what?
Crocodile Dundee.
York says something really weird in this conversation.
Yeah, so he talks to Richard about Anna, and Richard starts talking about Sally. He's known Anna since she was a child because he used to hang out with Sally, and they went through school together. And then at the end of that conversation, York just comes out and says,
How long have you been in love with her?
Hey, don't go there. That scar of yours tells me you got your hands full too, right? Let's not dive into personal matters. It'll be better for you and me.
You're right, Richard.
I sat back in my chair like, oh,
and the guy doesn't really
called
put up
you
a fight
out.
against it.
Nah, he just plays it off. He
Yeah.
leans
We
back.
don't go there.
Nah, it's nothing like that. That's it. We're done talking. And finally, you get to talk to the dame, the lass,
The Carol.
the Carol,
So I went on her door. Carol. Carol.
who is apparently a friend of Anna, but the whole time just talks about how dumb Anna was.
Anna was an airhead.
What do you mean? Are you saying she was killed because she was an airhead? Or are you saying that she was an airhead for being killed?
I'm sure she's still an airhead, even in heaven.
But she still sounded jealous. Everyone wanted to be around that airhead. York inadvertently ends the conversation when he tells Carol,
Isaac and Isaiah said that Anna was a fairy of the forest, a goddess.
Carol doesn't like that and walks away. We have finished chapter 6.
Hey.
Can I point out something real quick?
Absolutely.
Just a little detail that I thought was cool at the beginning of this whole thing was I got to the town hall space probably like 10 minutes before it started, and you can actually see all the townsfolk driving their cars in and parking to come there. I was like,
awesome.
that's a little neat little thing that they did. Like, you didn't have to do that type of thing, but I was like, that was cool. It's like 5-10 minutes before they're all getting out.
That's cool.
John coming around? John coming around?
No. Little details are fun like that, but
John's coming around, Peter.
Chapter 7, last chapter of the section, begins with York, George, and Emily outside the community center. They talk about that tomorrow, Diane, the owner of the art gallery, should be back in town. York is planning on heading back to the hotel, but Emily invites York out to go to the diner and eat. With all of them. Not just her. Not just her.
Sounds interesting.
York asks Zach.
A very appealing proposition. Zach, what do you think?
Guys, I imagine you both decided to go out to eat.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I brought the flies as well.
The flies came out. It was a party of 5.
The bees!
Party of flies.
They're eating dinner at the diner. Unfortunately, this place doesn't have a booth for 4 people. They stood at 2 different booths and talked to each other across the aisle.
Yeah, super awkward. Like, why would you sit like that? That's so weird.
This is a wholesome scene. You get to see them interact with each other and kind of joke with each other, learn a little bit about each other. They talk about their crimes that they've solved in the past. They talk about how they don't measure up to York because of the things that he's seen. And I'm definitely going to get a little more into that, but I want to just ask you guys first, what did you think about the scene?
York's seen some shit, man. All right. You can kind of see how it kind of makes him like the person that he is, because like he's kind of, I wouldn't say like stuck up. Like he's not stuck up, but he's like, once he's like in charge of everything, you can see how he makes it like his way, right? He's like, I need to get this shit done because this is the shit that I do and I make shit happen.
I would say that it's York not being afraid to say exactly what he's thinking.
Exactly. He says what's on his mind and what he's
socially
thinking.
Awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And that in that he says what's on his mind and without any filter, not really aware of how it's going to affect people.
He's unaware of their feelings and everything.
Right.
I liked it a lot. I really did like it.
I think it was other than the scene with George and pushing back with the whole scar thing, I think it's the best interaction we've seen with the group, because it puts into perspective his character, right? If again he's kind of just like socially awkward and just kind of free flowing and not realizing that what he's saying is probably not great dinner talk and kind of just going in, but it also he goes into the whole things because they're like, oh, we're not as good as you, and he's like, hey, crime is crime. Criminals and victims, it's no matter how small it is, they're still the victims never want the criminals to do what it is. So they're doing the good by stopping the criminals. And then you see George being like, good point. So it's kind of like, breaking down the barriers between the two.
Right.
So overall it's a good scene, I think.
We're going to dive a little into specifics. I totally agree with you guys. I love that this broke a little bit of the wall between everybody, allowed them to kind of learn what each of them have seen and what they're actually feeling. And like you said, York doesn't really take other people's feelings into consideration just because he's so forward with everything that when he hears what they're thinking, he keeps his personality, but he tells them, oh, no. It's not that I'm better than you. Don't think that. We're doing our respective jobs. That's what it is.
Right. And he showed signs of that, like right before going into the lumber yard too, where he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna have you guys timber seams your suspects too. And like George's like, what the fuck, basically, and he's like, I'm sorry, that was rude. Like he just like says shit, and it's just like, all right, but he like when he gets called out on it, he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, like that's not, but like you said, doesn't back down from his stance. He's just like, yeah, I didn't mean to be like that, but no, this is how it's gonna go.
Exactly.
And he gives reasons why. Like, this is why.
Right.
Let's talk about a few specifics in this scene. When they talk about the cases, George talks about someone stealing from the milk barn, hot-headed kids fighting fueled on liquor. Emily then asks York, what cases have you dealt with?
And oh
York
boy.
just holds nothing back, comes out and says,
The case I was on until last month, well, The guy killed 7 girls in a 3-month period. He sawed their heads off from the neck and took them back to his house. He cleaned the skulls up and used them as utensils in his daily life, to eat from or as a urine cup. He hated women. That was his way of dealing with it. He'd fill skulls with ice, cola, and rum, then he'd down it in one gulp. For him, that was a holy ritual.
By the way, the music when he's talking about this is going like this. Bump, ba-na-na-na, bump, bump, ba-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
It was annoying.
I love it. I love it. It totally reminds me of Twin Peaks because they would play certain songs during dramatic scenes, and you'd sit there watching the scene going, "Oh, why would you play this song right now?"
Cringing during it. Yep, that's how I felt during this. I was like, I just kept thinking how I would throw my food out.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, interesting. What's this?
He talks about how during the court case with that suspect, the man's insanity was called into question.
For me, he was insane. 100%. Drinking from the skulls, well, that is one thing. But those he had used to relieve himself, he would then just use them to drink from, too. Yeah, that was too much for me. It's just not sanitary.
That's when everyone puts their food down.
That's right. They all lost their appetite at that point. But York continues on.
This one got me.
And he talks about
an ingenious law school student raped over 800 victims. That was a nasty one.
How do you not get caught after at least 2?
Dude, he's talking about Bill Cosby. Come on.
Now we know how he was caught, though. I mean, this is the man to do it.
See, you put the cola in the skull, and then you take the pill and you drink from it.
They cut off York. They say, let's talk about something else. York is a little bummed out. He says, Zach, we're just about to get to the good part. That's when they get into the discussion that, oh, in your eyes, we must look like we're playing cops and robbers because you're like an elite agent from a movie or something.
Don't say that, Emily. The cases you have solved are all full-fledged crimes. A crime is a crime. Size doesn't matter. There is no big and small. Crimes always have a criminal and a victim. No victim will ever welcome a crime, no matter what its size. So, fundamentally, there is no difference in size.
Thomas cries a little bit. George ends the night, and you have to head back to the hotel. When you do that, York recounts everything. Uses his typewriter, and he asks Zach a couple questions. What clue did we find here at this point? What clue did we find there at that point? He basically recaps what we've seen and makes sure that you're paying attention to what is happening. He also talks about some of the townsfolk, and he mentions a few that are worthy of special attention. Carol McLean, Nick Cormack, Diane, the owner of the art gallery, and Rich Man Harry.
So I had another glitch happen here. And Pete, you probably would have loved this one too. Again, didn't know if it was part of the game or not. So he lays down in his bed and he just starts moving and sinking into the backboard slowly. He just like, I was like, is it like he's falling asleep and he's going into dream? Like it was just slowly just like laying down and it would just head going through the backboard, kept going.
That's awesome.
Like, and then it went to that side shot and it kept showing him going. So I was like, I think that's part of the game.
Not part of the game. That's amazing. Lastly, in this scene, he talks about Emily's back while he's lying in bed.
Oh, and on Emily's back, it was strange to me. Hey, don't take that the wrong way, Zach. I wasn't getting all excited or anything, but it did make me feel strange, nostalgic, and sad almost. It's starting to rain. I think this case may take a while.
To which the scene changes to the grandfather with the little girl, and they have to take a little break in the story time because the little girl's got to eat.
So her name is Emily too, right?
Yeah, her name is Emily. Last scene of the section is a very short one. We see a truck with a Dalmatian in the back.
Named Willie.
And then we see the sexy pair of legs step out of the truck, walk inside, and this fat man in the driver's seat watches the woman head inside, and he has a plant next to him. A plant with red leaves.
That looks like an upside down peace symbol.
Sign. Oh, snap. And we have ended the section. Guys, what did you think?
It was great. It's good stuff.
I'll say, Devon, what do you think? Story, gameplay, the scares?
I think the jump scares is what gets me the most in the whole game. I think, like, at least in this section, right? It was like full of it for me. I think story wise, I think it's building up. I like where John's going with the whole plant and tree factor. I'm a little bit interested now in I didn't even notice that the little girl's name is Emily. So I just picking at that a little bit. Picking at that a little bit in my brain berry. I'm liking where the game's going though. I just wish it didn't crash as much.
Yeah.
That's it.
Always be saving.
Let's just get that right off all of our chests. This PC port is garbage.
It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I like my initial, like I said, in the lumberyard, seeing the sign, kind of it being confirmed as far as like a tree, that last scene. I was like, all right, that's cool. I honestly wish that there wasn't a supernatural element to it. I kind of just wish it was more of a straightforward like murder mystery.
I can understand that. Absolutely.
Didn't have to go through all that stuff. I would be okay with it being like, oh, the murderer is supernatural if it is someone like mimicking like the story. Like that would be fine with me, but I don't like the open world type of gameplay that they got going on. Again, I feel like they're trying a little too hard with the quirkiness of everything, but maybe it'll grow on me. We'll see. We'll see what happens going on. Overall, it's fine. It's all right. I could I think, like I said, I enjoy talking about it more afterwards than actually playing through the game. So we'll see. I do like I didn't bring this up when driving around. You can like talk to yourself, or he talks to Zach, and he's going through like the movie reference stuff. Dude, he pulled out some like deep dive movie shit that I was like, hell yeah, man. I was like, dude, he had the Remo Williams he brought up. And I was like, dude, I watched that movie when I was like young, and like, dude, I was like, that's fucking sick. Talking about Fred Ward and everything. And I was like, damn, I was like, that was cool. And so I like the whole movie reference stuff is neat. But yeah, it's we'll see how it goes.
I like this hopeful outlook. Right,
this hopeful John.
I'm telling you, I'm not trying to shit on the game, like just because of like the PC port. I'm trying to keep it separate. Like I said, I there definitely is some of that leakage going into it just because of the sheer frustration.
Yep.
But I'm trying to be optimistic with it and to not hold it against it.
I do hope it grows on you. I'm hoping that with us playing this week by week, that you actually do start to grow and get a little more attached to the characters. And
I see glimpses of hope of like the diner scene with them talking, and then having a little bit more character development on some stuff where I'm hopeful that it will turn around. I'm not super into it right now, but
We got a lot of time.
There's a lot of game left, so I didn't realize there was as much game left as there was. So, we'll see.
That is right. I'm loving it. I'm loving going back through it. It's totally different from when I played Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. Playing it before and then playing it again now. Obviously, two totally different games.
Mm-hmm.
So one style I'm not really into, but it's still well made. You know, it's still done suitably for the time that it launched in. This one, abysmal in so many areas, but it has a serviceable charm that keeps you going through it. And like I said before, and like I said last episode, I absolutely adore this game. And I can't wait for the sequel.
Oh,
there's the news. The sequel that is coming out in 2020, announced Switch exclusive. Oh my god.
That's so crazy that like we're playing
here.
through this and like they launch Origins on the Switch and then they announce a second one.
It's weird because it was like Pete just picked it just to pick it, right? And then it's like, oh, it's coming up in its like 10-year
anniversary is coming up in February.
Yeah. And you're like, oh shit, that's like crazy. And then it was like in my like Google News feed, the Deadly Premonition. And I really thought it was just because I had looked up some stuff. And I was like, oh, they're gonna start showing me articles about Deadly Premonition. And it was like, wait, Deadly Premonition 2? I was like, what? Hold on a second. What? And I sent it to the group and it was just like, dude, it's like perfect timing to do it.
I am hesitantly excited for the sequel.
Yeah.
Swery is back writing and directing. However, this game had such a charm for what it was when it first came out.
Yeah.
That I don't know if lightning can strike twice. We'll have to see. But like John said, we got a lot of game left.
Facts. So much.
We need
game
to talk
left.
about. We need to talk about the next section we're playing to, and that is finishing episode 2.
Huh? Is it shorter than all of episode 1 or no?
There's 3 chapters.
Gotta get it done.
ABS, everybody. ABS.
ABS.
Fucking S.
Why are we talking about what part we're going to play to? Because if you want to join us, if you want to play the game with us, you can play to that part. Join our Discord. The link is in the description of whatever service you're using to listen or watch this podcast. Hop on in the Discord, submit any questions. If you don't want to play it, but you want to follow along, we stream the game as well. You can check our BLKWHD Gaming Twitch, and you can join us there. Watch the stream. You can also follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram, same handle, BLKWHD Gaming. And if you want to reach out to us in a private sense, if you want to reach out to us in an email, feel free, blkwhdgaming@gmail.com. Guys, that is it for episode 2.
2, baby. Woo. Episode 2, season 2.
We moving through. We moving. We're doing it. All right.
We're pushing through.
We're premonitioning.
Deadly-ish.
Yeah. The deadliest of premonitions. I'm Peter, your moderator, joined by my best friends, Johnny Bag of Donuts.
Hey guys, thanks for listening.
And the real Kratos.
Hey, thank y'all for coming out.